Hi guys, we are going to learn about another very famous Native American who was very important in helping all the pilgrims and the colonists learn how to do all the things that they learned how to do when they came to America. His name is Squanto, friend to the pilgrims. So this is Squanto right here, and we're going to learn all about him. Squanto came from the village of Patuxet. His people were part of an Indian nation called the Wampanoag. The Wampanoag lived in the beautiful woodlands of New England. They hunted and fished and they farmed. So this is what his tribe looked like and what they lived in. Squanto left his home and was taken to England. He learned to speak English while living there. Squanto worked as a guide on many voyages. These voyages brought him back to his homeland. So sometimes when Native Americans learned how to speak English, they would go on lots of voyages on ships with the colonists because they would act as a guide when they brought them over to America. And so one of these voyages brought him back home to America. When Squanto returned to his village, he found that all of his people had died from a terrible sickness. Oh no. He went to live with another Wampanoag tribe. Soon the pilgrims landed. And then they settled in where Squanto's people had lived. The pilgrims called it Plymouth. So the pilgrims sailed over and they settled where Squanto's tribe used to live, and they named it Plymouth. Squanto helped the pilgrims and taught them how to plant corn. He showed them how to dig a hole with a clamshell and mound the dirt. Then he taught them to place a fish into each mound before they planted the corn kernels. Why did they put a fish in there? Maybe your teachers know. But he taught them how to plant, and he taught them how to dig with a clamshell, a little clamshell. Can you imagine having to dig the holes in your garden with a little clamshell? But that's how they did it. And that's how pilgrims learned to plant corn. So Squanto showed the pilgrims where to fish and how to get sap from all the maple trees. You know, maple syrup? Maple syrup comes from trees, and so he showed them how to cut the trees and get the sap. He pointed out dangerous plants and plants that could make them better when they were sick. Squanto showed them how to make homes called wigwams. They're getting out the maple syrup from the trees. Do you think they had pancakes? I don't know if they had pancakes. When fall came, in 1621, the pilgrims had 20 acres of Indian corn ready to harvest. That's a lot of corn. Life was much better for the pilgrims because Squanto had helped them. Together, they shared a wonderful feast that lasted for 3 days. So after the corn was ready to pick, they picked all that corn and they had a feast that lasted for 3 days. And remember what that feast was called? That was the first Thanksgiving. Squanto and 90 people, 90 from the Wampanoag tribe came to the feast. They ate deer, wild turkey, corn soup, cornbread, squash, beans, and berries. It was a time of friendship and peace for the Native Americans and the new Americans. Today, we honor this feast in Thanksgiving. So we recreate this feast that they had together, showing friendship and giving thanks, and we call it Thanksgiving. And that's the end. That is the tale of Squanto. He sure did a lot to help out the pilgrims when they got here to the new land, didn't he? I hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you next time.